Hello everybody, Pupsy Animations here, and today I'm building a Spinosaurid exhibit with Spinosaurus, Irritator, and Suchomimus. And if my voice sounds a little dead right now, that was because yesterday I was at the World Cup. Anyways, now I'm looking for the perfect skin combination for the male and the female. Originally I was going to do all three of the Rebirth Spinosaurus variants, but then I realized they didn't really look too well with the male, so I just choose one of the generic Spinosauruses that kind of resembled the Rebirth ones, but had similar patterning to the males. I didn't want to make too many of all of the species of Spinosaurids that are in this park, because despite the fact they're all in separate areas, I wanted to make it look like, from a guest perspective, that it was all just one giant float of Spinosaurids. And these stupid Titanosaurs keep sticking around the center of that enclosure, but either way, now we have a Spinosaurus here to check the scale of the enclosure. Originally I was going to have just Spinosaurus and Irritator, but then I realized the enclosure was a bit too big for all of them, so I decided to add Suchomimus to one of the areas. Now we're using this terrain paint to make it look like a semi-arid oasis. And now it's finally time for rock work. Hooray. It's all rock work. Always has been rock work. Never will not be rock work. It's rock work, it's rock work, it's rock work. Oh my gosh. Please save me. Also, another one of my original ideas was to have the entire enclosure connected so that the Irritator and Spinosaurus could roam around freely, but then I realized that was kind of stupid because no actual zoos do that. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a zoo have gharials, alligators, and crocodiles all interacting together? And now it's time for more rock work. But either way, you guys see those GTA 6 pre-orders? Gonna get my hand on it. It's gonna be the game of all time. I'm usually not a sports guy, but honestly, soccer is pretty fun. And I'm glad the match I went to, Haiti versus Morocco, actually had like a bunch of goals. I was a little worried we're gonna waste a bunch of money for like one goal in the entire game, but that was genuinely a fun match, especially in the first half. In the second half, Morocco just started, winning a lot, which is good for me, but like, Haiti played a really good game there, especially as someone who's like not really into sports. That was good, and I think the World Cup is pretty World Cup, but kind of sad Ronaldo and Messi didn't fight, and where was IShow's speed? This kind of feels like a ripoff. Right here, I thought it would be a cool little feature if there was just like a giant rock arch that the dinosaurs could swim under, because everyone loves a good arch. The only problem is it's not too visible from the guest path, but either way, I'm an omniscient god in this game and I can do whatever I want. And no one ever really tells you how hard it is to build arches in this game, but it really is hard to make arches. But I am built different, so whatever I put my mind to, I can do somewhat decently. I think this arch is one of the better arches I've made, and I hope to make more rock arches because you can never really go wrong with rock arches. Maybe make like a little cave, like a rock arch between a mountain that leads into a little cave. I think I can do that one day. Like a cool feature. I think I can do that. I'll do that. I am one with the rocks. The rocks have infested me. They're like symbiotes. I can hear them talking to me saying, "We are Rocky." And I'm low-key a little scared, but I'm built different, so I can survive. I'm gonna rip the rocks off of me like Spider-Man did, and I'm like, "No, I'm Pupsy, I'm not Rock Man." And they're gonna be like, "Come back to us, become the Rocky Man you are supposed to be." And I'll be like, "No, you can't make me." And the rocks will tell me, "You have to. We are rocking." And I'll punch the rocks, and the rocks will punch me. We'll punch each other in a rocky souffle of rocks and punches and rocks and punches and rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks and rocks. It's all rocks. It always has been rocks. It's never not been rocks. Rocks forever. Rocks, rocks, rocks. Fence, a fence. This right here is probably the best shot of the mountain in this video that I built off camera for some reason because I am a chud. And you can notice in the background the pterosaurs flying around. I added that because I used the invisible aviary to give it the feel that the pterosaurs were flying around the mountain. They live on the mountain. And I added a few perch points, but I low-key got bored, so I didn't finish it. And yep, rocks. More rock work. Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. And add the rocks, and the rocks, and more rocks, and more rocks, and more rocks. and rocks, and, you know, I'm just copy and pasting the same rocks and kind of getting tired of the rock work and how much rocks you gotta work with. And, the only thing that's pushing me forward nowadays is knowing that I get to play GTA 6 one day. Hopefully. If, bad things don't happen. I mean, if they delay it, I might actually go insane, but, Rock Symbiosis before GTA 6 is kind of crazy. But you know what else is crazy? Now we're back adding fences to every part of the waterfalls that connect to different parts of the enclosure, because it adds a bit of realism that the water can go through but the dinosaurs can't. In lore of the park, it was added so that any baby dinosaurs wouldn't get swept through the current and knocked into a different part of the enclosure. Which, it would be nice if dinosaurs could swim and wade through different elevations of water. Maybe like a water ramp you could add, Frontier. That'd be nice. Please, Frontier, I need this. My rivers are kind of elevationless. Now, this is more of a future of the channel thing, but I've planned out quite a few more videos in the future, a lot of rants. I've realized that there's a lot of stuff I don't like Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, The Boys Season 5, Stranger Things Season 5, A Lot of Things Season 5. I mean, it's like a curse now. Shows just can't have good endings anymore. Except Breaking Bad. Shows fail in their 5th season with the sole exception of Breaking Bad, of course. But I have a mini rant about anime in general. What's with all the exposition? I mean, I understand in the comic, because, in the manga, you gotta exposition, because you can't really show what's happening visually. But I don't need 30 people in the anime to explain to me that Jason Guabel has thrown a gun at someone. I can see this. I have eyes. I have a pair of functioning eyes. I can see this. Please stop explaining it to me. I get it already. I don't need you to tell me what's going on. I already saw this. Please, stop explaining it to me. I know. I'm pretty sure the rocks are coming after me. I just feel... I feel so schwumble-dingled. I feel like I have to complain all the time now. Because the rocks, they're possessing my brain. They're making me go insane. It's not me, it's the rocks. Now we're looking at the little heat map to make sure everything's not traversable between enclosures. And finally, we can start building a little rock spire. When I was building the rock spire, I realized at the end that it unintentionally looked like a little dinosaur hand. So I decided to go with it and build another one to the other side of it, so it looks like these little rocks are shaped into little Spinosaurus hands. Nice little enclosure, points of interest. And obviously a little more rock work to make the cliff not look too steep there, and patch out any of the weird edges. And now it's time to find a nice little place to build the second spire. Realistically, I probably could have copy and pasted the first one I made, but I wanted each of them to look like unintentional things that happen, not really intentionally built. So adding a little variety makes things all the nicer. And gosh, I sound so zoinked right now, bro. I'm so zoinked. I'm cooked. I'm zoinked. I'm tired. But I gotta build the dinosaur enclosures. Dinosaurs. Next, we're on to the best part of the rockwork, which is this little Spinosaurus jaw mountain. Which I really like how it comes out, because it looks like there's a little Spinosaurus jaw arch, which kind of mixes well with the little Spinosaurus hands. And if you really think about it, the little arch in the Irritator exhibit might come off as a little Spinosaurus sail, which could imply that this enclosure was built on the bones of a really big ancient Spinosaurid kaiju. Not that that would actually happen, but you gotta have some good food for thought, play around with your imagination a little. But yeah, I really like how this turns out. It adds a lot of flavor to the enclosure. And unlike the other rock stuff, I decided to duplicate this one, especially because I can just flip it around so it looks a little different on the other side. Sometimes you gotta be a little lazy to make these enclosures look as nice as they can be. Do you guys like conspiracy theories? I mean, I do. I like hearing people say insane stuff. Now, I have a conspiracy theory. However, this one isn't insane, and I think it to be true. Back in the days of Jurassic World Evolution 1 and Jurassic World Evolution 2, we got DLC that corresponded with each other. Like the Carnivore Dinosaur Pack in JW1, and the Herbivore Dinosaur Pack also in JW1, and the Early and Late Cretaceous packs in JW2. And did you ever find it weird how we got a Cretaceous Carnivore pack, but never a Cretaceous Herbivore pack? A little weird, but think about this. JW3 launched with 5 species, 4 of those being land species, and of those 4 species, all of them are herbivores from the Cretaceous. Now think about it. If Frontier was working on a Cretaceous herbivore DLC and realizes they had to end JW2 so they can start work on JW3 fully and market the game out, would they not need new species for that game? Especially if they were putting most of that effort into the new babies and the new systems and all the half-baked features. Wouldn't it make sense for them to grab these species from an unreleased pack and package them into JW3's base game as new species? Think about it. Now, this isn't me giving digs at Frontier. Honestly, this is a smart move. I would have done the same. But the main point of this theory is just a little, what if? What if this happened? It's nothing too serious. Just, a little fun thing to think about in your spare time. And yep, rock work. At least I'm copy and pasting so I don't have to do that much rock work. But rock work is still rock work no matter what. Rock work will never not be rock work. Anyways, I'm working on a little overpass so you can view into the enclosure. But then I realized these rocks are a little too high in this bottom area, so you can't really see into the enclosure that well. Created this little funky little path area, which I really like. It's funky. I like funky stuff. We should add more funky stuff to our dinosaur enclosures and our dinosaur games to make this game as funky as possible, and yet the rocks are still obscuring the view no matter how close I get the path to it. So you have to, improvise and come up with something else to help figure that out. And I think you know what I'm gonna do. Now it's finally time to build the government-mandated retaining wall, because all the enclosures in this park have a retaining wall, and it adds a nice bit of flavor and also a little bit of a stupidity barrier to stop our stupid guests from jumping into our less stupid Spinosaurus exhibit and getting eaten, because the guests are stupid and cannot see off the path for some reason. You know what, scratch that. The Spinosaurids aren't stupid. They at least explore their enclosures. The Titanosaurs, they don't even want to leave the center of the enclosure. They're there the entire time. I built an entire enclosure. Please leave the center! You know what, maybe Frontier will actually improve dinosaur AI one day. But I guess nowadays we just gotta live with what we have. Which I guess is a bit of a double-edged sword, because when I build an ecosystem, I want my dinosaurs to hang around their general vicinity. I don't want 5 Triceratops all on separate areas of the map when it's I built this entire area for you guys don't have to expand anymore. But when I'm building an enclosure, explore the enclosure. Don't group up together in the center. The best way to explain it, it's if I'm building an ecosystem, stay together like a herd. If I'm building an enclosure, then just spread around and move, and here I'm messing around with the mountain, trying to do extra mountain areas, but then I realized it just doesn't really look that good, so we're just doing good old-fashioned trees. I love these pine trees. They're very good, and they add a lot of freshness and amazingness and awesomeness, and I love trees and I love rocks, and yet they're so tedious. It's a double-edged sword. I love them, I hate them, I green them, I blue them. What a colorful metaphor, Wolverine. Blue-green with envy. Oh gosh, I've been watching too much X-Men. I'm going insane. I'm going insane, guys, help me. I'm going insane. 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 More path. More path. This path is so long. This path is so wrong. This path is so green. This path is so blue. I'm going insane. Sometimes I feel like Rick, but instead of being the smartest man in the universe, I'm the most driven insane by Jurassic World man in the universe. Because goodness gracious, this is getting to me. It's so much. It's too much. It's oodles upon oodles. It's so much. You couldn't even imagine how much. Oh my gosh. It's to infinity and beyond amounts of rock. Anyways, speaking of Toy Story, watch the 5th one. It's okay, it's okay, but nothing that this franchise has done past the 3rd movie has justified its existence. I mean, why are we still making movies after you say it's ending? This is the exact same thing FNAF is doing. Is Pixar actually run by Scott Cawthon? Now it's on to me trying to make this viewing gallery work. I really tried, multiple times to see if I could get this to work, but in reality, it just doesn't. Let's pretend my guests are smart and they can look over the enclosure with their eyes that they have on their head. Also, really, extremely levels of unrelated, but, you guys notice that Chasmosaurus has a trading card in JW3? I mean, I look at it and I'm a little confused, because, Chasmosaurus of all things? You didn't want to give it to Patago Titan, or Ornithomimus, or Kawajara, just Chasmosaurus. I mean, I have no problems with it. I mean, it's Chasmosaurus, but, it's Chasmosaurus. You could have given it to a new species, or a franchise regular species. But, I feel you'd want to give Chasmosaurus a card in JW1 rather than JW3. I mean, does JV1 even have cards? I'll quickly go check. After some really quick research, I learned that JV1 does have cards of all the islands, JV2 has cards of the game modes, and JV3 has cards of all the species that are important, and Chasmosaurus. And guys, don't take this as me hating on Chasmosaurus. I think Chasmosaurus is a perfectly fine species, hell. But I'm just sitting here like, really, Chasmosaurus, that's it? You know, right now it feels like the perfect time to ask you guys to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Please like and subscribe and turn on notifications, and I'll give everyone who does a piece of Alfredo. Just one Alfredo noodle, and maybe a piece of imitation crab if you're like one of the lucky 5 people. And now we're kneading up the rock work to make sure the rock work is neat, because if the rock doesn't work, then how will we? Or something like that. I think Gandhi said it, maybe. Perchance. I'm like a Gandhi quote extraordinaire. I know all 5 of Gandhi's quotes. Now we're adding more fences. This is the fenciest enclosure in this entire park. None of the other enclosures really have fences except this one. And you know, like, just so much rocks. Why? Why are there so many rocks? I can't. This park, it's like 90% rock and 2% dinosaur, and the other 8% is something, I don't know. And now we're finally getting our irritating irritators into the exhibit. And I love the Saurian desert skin, it's just genuinely so amazing. The best irritator skin, but I just prefer using it for the male because it gives it like more of a vibrant color than the female. Because that's what I like to do, I like to make the dimorphism make sense with a more vibrant male and a less vibrant female. And obviously we're throwing in Suchomimus as well, because Suchomimus is one of the only good Spinosaurids in the game. I mean, we only have like 4 Spinosaurids, technically 5 if you want to use the variants as its own species, which I like to do. And honestly, you guys are probably going to skin me alive. I'm not a big fan of the JP3 Spinosaurus. I know, shocker, but I just prefer the more accurate Spinosaurus because it makes it look more unique than just a generic theropod with a sail. And given how much empty space this enclosure have, I can just forego using the breeding pit and can just breed them in the habitat, which means we can now have some irritatings. Irritatorlings? Irritatorlets? Irritator tots, that's it. From now on, all baby irritators must be called Irritator tots. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Now we can finally release our banana Suchomimuses and the one blue guy. Now it's finally time to let our Suchos get busy and create some Sucholings, which I think works good. So they're Irritator tots and Sucholings. These are new words I've created, we must all use them now. Now I realize this little drop between the Spinos and the Suchos was a little too short, so I added a little bit of a fence right there. Now we can start adding some foliage to the rocks, because foliage likes to grow on rocks, for some reason. You know, I don't know much about foliage, all I know is rocks, and they haunt me, and more fences, because this is the fenciest build in the park, and trees, and foliage, and fences, and rocks, and foliage, and this guy's eating dirt. Why is he eating dirt? I don't know. He eats dirt. I don't know if it's a feature or a bug, but he's a chud, and he eats dirt, and we just gotta let him eat dirt, guys. He's fine. He's right where he wants to be, in the dirt, eating it, you know. And now we just gotta adjust the rocks again, because when you think you're done with the rock work comes back to you and tells you, no, you're not. And more foliage, because foliage is amazing, and so are rocks, but rocks are just kind of frustrating because of how many you have to put, but they make it all worth it at the end, because all the rocks you put in and all the foliage, no matter how tedious, makes the enclosure look 10 times better than it would have looked without it. And like, I'm practically forgetting that these are supposed to be trees, given the fact I'm sinking them in, but yeah. Using trees like bushes is extremely useful, especially because they can cover a wide area of little crevices in the rock with like one plant. So yeah, use trees instead of bushes for this kind of stuff. It's your daily Pupsy tip of the day. You know, gotta add some more foliage, even the ones that the guests can't see, because as much detail as you can, you gotta put it even in places that no one's gonna look at, because sometimes you gotta make sure there's little stuff for you and the people with the omniscient view to look at, like you. Like, I'm seeing the stuff, and you can see the stuff when the park is done and I release it on the Frontier Workshop. And I'm actually going to try to complete this park, because I made sure it only had like 10 enclosures at most. Because I know that I gave up on Evolution Park, gave up on Evolution Park Redux, gave up on Nature Trail Park and Dino Land. But you know, Carolina's Dinotopia, I gotta complete it. And also, I want to play some Prehistoric Kingdom now that they have the new update with the combat. But either way, I want to build a nice Allosaurus enclosure, because I love Allosaurus. Except the one they have in this game, because it's just another stupid Crocosaur, but you know. You win some, you lose some, I guess. And obviously I'm going to play some Planet Zoo 2 when that comes out, because every time I see it, it just reaffirms that this is probably going to be one of the greatest games of all time. Especially in the park management sim. And just kind of makes me wish that Frontier would put half the effort they do in Planet Zoo 2 into anything in JW 3. But no, Mutodon and D-Rex have no skins, guys. This is Masrani's Jurassic World for you guys. And obviously trees to give our dinosaurs some shade, because, you know, you wouldn't want to be out in the sun all the time. Especially if you're a moist dinosaur. I guess moist dinosaurs would get sunburns easier because they're meant to be moist all the time. And if they got dry, they'd get sunburns. And I wouldn't want to have a sunburn if I was a moist dinosaur. And now we're on to path work and, you know, starting to get this guest area done because the guests need a little area. And, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of building guest areas nowadays because, you know, it feels like I can't really finish up like the entire thing by building it with all the detail. But I still gotta try. I don't know why, I think it was like easier to build guest areas in Jurassic World Evolution 2 than it was in Jurassic World Evolution 3. I think things just got a little smaller in JW 3 than they were in JW 2. I guess that's the trade-off. You get more features in JW 3, but everything becomes smaller. It's all small. It's all small from here. Maybe I lost my way. I was making legendary guest areas in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Maybe I'm gonna go to JW guest area school so I can learn how to make good guest areas again. So I can hopefully not make these little cheap guest areas with just a couple benches and chairs. You know, actually use amenities in the park. And, you know, here I was trying to, you know, check if I really wanted to include all those lily pads, but then I realized the park kind of looks stupid without the lily pads. Lily pads really improve everything. Never not building a park with the lily pads. And now this part is like extra sped up because I don't really know what you guys want me to say right now. Because like I'm just building a guest area. There's not really much interesting stuff I can add here. Because it's just a guest area. It's not even a really good one. I have to go back to the way I was in JW 2 because I was building legendary guest areas. And now I'm just building these little sad guest areas. So I gotta fix this. I think it's because of the lack of amenities. But you know, you can't really blame me because I think they should have kept the amenity system from JW 2. It was just so easy to make a bunch of different amenities there. But now, like, with modular building, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, I can make custom ones, but also, I kind of miss the simplicity, because nobody really wants to spend a lot of time modular building different shops. I prefer spending my time modular building enclosures, or interesting buildings, but, like, not the, you know, amenities. Please, Frontier, bring back the old amenity system as, like, an extra thing you can have. Please, Frontier, I need this. I really do. I just miss the way things were back in JW 2. Frontier, bring back the old system for amenities. I'm singing so you can really know I mean it. Bring back the amenities. I want them to be the way they were. I don't like change, so making all the things that were the way they were back to the way they were, and if they were the way and the way they were. Yeah. Please forgive me for my horrible singing. I'm just mourning the loss of the amazing amenity system, and now we're just adding more benches. Because you can never bench the benches, no matter who you bench. Gandhi said that. I would know. I'm the president of the Gandhi Quote Club, where we just say Gandhi quotes. It's a real club. Don't I know the Gandhi Club sounds crazy, but guys, you gotta believe me. Now it's time for some more plant work with these little bushes being turned into arid grass, which is the final detail I have to put into all this park, and you know, it's a little tedious, but that's the thing. All the stuff I'm doing in this park is basically tedious, because you can't really make a good park without doing tedious stuff. Gandhi said that. I would know. And overlapping this little grass without, you know, getting it next to the greenery. So you have some yellowery, some greenery, and some rockery. I think rockery is a thing. If it's not, I created the word. I am making practically an entire dictionary of words that I have come up with that should join the English lexicon. I will call it the Pupsy Dictionary. It's coming out in 2099. You guys can read it and read all the words that I have created for the greater good of humanity. Redery, Yellowery, Rockery, Irritator Tots, Sucholings, the Gandhi fan club. That's a word. It's one word. It really is one word, guys. You gotta trust me on that. So finishing up this Yellowery. I'm putting in all the green areas of the aridness, so it covers up the green, so it can really look like the arid oasis that I want it to be. Maybe even a bit of a savanna look. I really wish Frontier would give us like a yellow grass brush. That'd be a fun little thing. So you could make like these little yellow grass plains, a little bit of a savanna. Especially since they don't want to give us like a savanna biome itself. But I understand. Planet Zoo gets to have this, but we can't. It's hard for us to expect things that they'd give to their favorite child franchise, but one day I hope Frontier will love us all equally. But that's not gonna happen, so might as well stop hoping. Anyways, we're running out of time, so one last time, like, subscribe, turn on notifications for when I next upload a video, which is hopefully soon.